Coach Prime and the Colorado Buffaloes, they have an incredible visitor weekend ahead of them for their game against Oregon State. And guys, guess what? We're going to sit here and not only break down some of these massive recruits, five-star recruits, mind you, that are going to be visiting Boulder, but we're also going to break down this game against Oregon State and give you the keys for what both teams need to do to be able to win it, and then go ahead and give you my prediction. But before we do that, before we dive into it, I need you guys to jump in the comments, join the discussion, and let me know what y'all's thoughts are about what Deion Sanders has done at Colorado. Yes, give me your thoughts on Coach Prime, because this is a 4-4 season, and it's been fairly interesting to see how he's handled coaching in a Power 5 conference. And although Colorado last year was one of the bottom teams in the country, Colorado this year, hey, although their defense isn't great, they are prime time college football, which is exactly where Coach Prime wanted them to be. So let's go ahead and let's dive into this visitors list, because my goodness, Colorado, Deion Sanders, Coach Prime, what are y'all doing out there? Got to start off with, of course, the number one guy up there, Jordan Seaton, the 5-star offensive tackle. Listen, this has been a guy where a lot of it's been believed that he's going to end up at Florida, going to be at Florida. Going to take a visit to Ohio State, though. You've got Tennessee out in the mix. Oklahoma's tried to get in there. Where was Jordan Seaton going to land? And although he took an unofficial visit to Colorado, I think a lot of people blew that off like, yeah, it's not real. Well, guess what? It's real now, because he's taken an official visit to Boulder this week. And mind you, this is going to be actually a pretty good game for Colorado to get some of these visitors in there, especially some of these big-time prospects, because although this is a 9 p.m. kickoff, which I think is going to be probably 10 o'clock my time, if it's 9 p.m., or unless it's 9 p.m. Central. I'll have to look at that. These kids get an opportunity to get out there. They get to get an understanding of what the feel is on campus. They get an opportunity to see what the game day festivities are going to look like, instead of it being an 11 a.m. big noon kickoff, which is where Colorado has been primarily positioned throughout this season. So Jordan Seaton is a guy that he straight pancakes dudes. This is a guy that, hey, he can go up against the best defensive lineman in the country. He plays for IMG Academy. So for those of you who are not aware, he has to go up against David Stone in practice. So Jordan Seaton visiting Colorado, this is important because the offensive line, it's a major need for Colorado going into this offseason. Whether you address it through the recruiting, whether you address it through JUCO, transfer portal, you have to address it this season. And important to note, they already have. They threw an offer out to Keyshawn Blackstock, a transfer from Michigan State. I would love Colorado to land that kid. Great prospect. You've offered the William Roberts out of St. Thomas Aquinas, 6'2", 270-pound offensive tackle. He's still on your board. Obviously, you still have Jordan Seaton. But it wouldn't shock me to see Colorado try to go out here and try to flip a dude, right? Try to flip a dude from another school. You've already got Isaiah Walker Jr. out of Butler Community College, out of El Dorado, Kansas. You've got Talon Chandler. So they're addressing the needs, but we need to see exactly how they continue to address the offensive line. You land Jordan Seaton, you get somebody elite there for next year. Draylon Miller. Coach Prime was out at Draylon Miller's game after he decommitted from Texas A&M. This is a wide receiver that's explosive. Draylon Miller is a guy that he can beat you with the speed, but hey, he can get up there and fight for those one-on-one balls. So you get a guy like that. We've seen what Shedeur Sanders has been able to do with great weapons around him. And I don't believe Shedeur Sanders leaves to go to the NFL this year. I think he needs another year of film in the Power 5 before NFL scouts can really take him seriously as a top 10 pick, which is good news for Colorado fans, because I don't think Danny O'Neal is your immediate answer at quarterback. So if you get a year to get some of these young guys in to sit behind Shedeur, learn the offense, then maybe when they have to step up, maybe then you have an offensive quarterback that can at least play to half of what Shedeur Sanders is. Because Shedeur Sanders, listen, one of the best quarterbacks in college football. It's going to be hard to replace that with whoever you get. Now, you guys are getting Nasir Johnson on campus. For those of you who don't know who this guy is, Florida Gators commit. Dude's kind of been shopping around. So you look at Nasir Johnson, you're getting him on campus. Got to continue to build in the trenches, right? So offensive line, defensive line to be successful. Now, luckily, you're going to the Big 12, not one of the conferences that's necessarily known for their defense. So you get time. I think it's a little bit of a buffer to get this team together. But this is one that I'm watching saying, if Colorado can come in here and stir up some noise and flip a Nasir Johnson from the Florida Gators, that would be a huge win for Coach Prime. Now, King Joseph Edwards, you have seen the predictions start to flow in favor of Colorado and Coach Prime. This is one that I would keep an eye on to see, hey, does he commit this weekend, or does Colorado start to get a silent commit? If Colorado gets a silent commit this week, you're going to see those recruiting predictions they're going to flow in even more than they were the previous week. So King Joseph Edwards, this is a guy that a lot of people were wanting him across the country. He's an athlete, maybe could play a little bit of linebacker, maybe could play a little bit of edge, maybe to be a little bit of a hybrid for you. Not sure exactly how this staff wants to use him, but this would be a big win, because this is a guy that he has built up a presence just among college football fans in general throughout this recruiting process. And he's explosive. This is a guy that can make a difference for you. And then Elijah Melendez at the linebacker position. We've talked about it, guys. 2025, this has already been a hot start for a couple teams throughout college football. Georgia, Alabama, Notre Dame, Oklahoma, LSU. Colorado needs to get in there and start landing some of these 2025 recruits as well. So you've got Elijah Melendez, LaMason Waller. I believe you guys are potentially going to be looking at getting a couple other guys on campus in the 2025 cycle as well. So we'll like Mantrez Walker or people like that. So you guys will have to keep an eye on that as this continues to go along. But Colorado, you have a nice group of visitors coming on campus. And I don't believe the pitch is necessarily, hey, we're one piece away from winning a conference title and going to a playoff. I think your pitch to these guys are, hey, Colorado, we're on the rise. And Coach Prime, he's getting this team to where it needs to be. One, with Coach Prime as your coach, you're going to be a high-profile player, right? You're not going to be a 5-star that goes to Florida or Alabama and gets lost in the mix. You're going to be high profile for almost your entire career, if not your entire career, while you're at Colorado. Second off, you're going to help make Colorado great again, right? So I think you kind of pitch it along those lines of, hey, come help make Colorado great. Come help make us a conference championship, maybe even a playoff contender here in 2 or 3 years, right? Help create this excitement around this program. And some of these guys, like Jordan Seaton, he might see this as an opportunity to come in and start day one and start making an impact. Hey, if you can get 3 years of film on your plate, that's really good for NFL scouts. So I want to look at the game this weekend, the matchup between the Oregon State Beavs. Yes, the Oregon State Beavers. So Oregon State's coming in here at 6-2. Colorado's coming in at 4-4. Obviously, Colorado's trying to come in here and they're trying to obtain bowl eligibility. You're trying to get to that 6 wins. And we talked about it at the beginning of the year when we gave our predictions for Colorado. Said, hey, for Colorado to make a bowl game, that is the ceiling. That is what you want out of this team. You're not making the playoffs. You're not winning a Pac-12 championship. You just want to get to bowl eligibility. You can turn this team around to 6 wins. Not only is that a success on the field, but you're going to see the success on the recruiting trail, which we kind of just talked a little bit about some of those recruits, which, by the way, they've already got a fantastic class this year so far, which we didn't really dive into those names. But you guys go over to 247 or On3 and check out those lists of those commits. Here's the deal. I look at this game, and although the ESPN analytics tell you, hey, Oregon State's got an 80% chance to win this game, I actually think this game is going to be closer than everybody thinks it's going to be. Let me explain that why. The Oregon State's favored by 13, 62.5 line. My key for Colorado's is Colorado has to come out of this game hot. They have to start hot. And if they do that, if they come out of this game guns blazing, Shedeur Sanders throws a couple touchdowns, maybe you're up 14-0, 17-7. All of a sudden, you're giving the Colorado Buffaloes a little bit of an opportunity to say, okay, we're not playing from behind. Let's keep our foot on the gas. Let's keep doing what we do well. Maybe integrate a little bit of the run game as well. Try to get that run game going. That requires your offensive line to block well, create those holes, create those gaps for the running backs to run through. If you do that, I think Colorado gives themselves a very, very good chance to win this game. Listen, Colorado, they already get in the backfield. They create tackles for loss. They can create pressure on the quarterback. And DJ Uiagalelei, he is not a mobile quarterback. So if you're able to do that, you might be able to, one, get DJ to throw interceptions, which he's only thrown 4 on the year. But if you can get DJ to create turnovers and your offense starts hot, Colorado probably wins this game by 10 or 14 points. Now, for Oregon State, though, here's the deal. The Colorado Buffaloes, their defense is absolutely awful. Like, I think it's the second worst defense in all of college football. So you should come into this game knowing we should be able to put up 40 or 50 points on this team. If you don't put up 40 on this team, you failed. Even if you win and you don't put up 40 on this team, you failed. Colorado's defense is awful. Now, the question is DJ Uiagalelei going to be able to identify where Travis Hunter is on the field, Shiloh Sanders is on the field, and is he going to be able to avoid throwing those interceptions? If Oregon State can take care of the ball and DJ Uiagalelei can throw 300-plus yards in this game, Martinez can get probably 120-plus yards in this game, Oregon State probably wins this game handily, probably by 3 scores. But since this is at home for Colorado and it's a sold-out game, Colorado fans, they're excited about this new era. Colorado has yet to lose more than 2 straight games in a row. Can you avoid the upset? That's the question for Oregon State. Because Colorado is going to march in here and they're going to try to get this win. Big weekend for them. They don't want to lose this one. They want to get to bowl eligibility. And in order for Colorado to get to bowl eligibility, this has to be a game that you win. Because next week you have Arizona, which is a very winnable game for Colorado. Arizona is a little bit better of a team, not by much. So you win this game, you beat Arizona, you have 6 wins. By that point, you're 6-4. Where, hey, you've got to go play Cameron Ward at Washington State. That's going to be really, really tough for this defense. And you got to play Utah. You're probably in the season 6-6 at that point. But if you're a Colorado Buff fan, you look at it and say, this has been an absolute success season. You beat 2 rivals in Colorado State and Nebraska in your first year. You started the season 3-0. Coach Prime goes out here and he shows and brings Colorado at least back to some point of relevance. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take a shot in the dark. I've got Colorado winning this game 42-31. I'm going to call my shot. 42-31 Colorado. They get back on the winning side of things. And then I think they also win again next week against Arizona. But you guys will have to tune back in for that one. And then also we'll provide some updates on how this recruiting weekend went for Colorado and exactly where they sit with some of these recruits, including the 5-star offensive lineman, Jordan Seaton. But guys, if you haven't already, make sure you're jumping down in the comments, joining the discussion. Let me know what y'all's thoughts are about Colorado. Additionally, if you have not already, go ahead and hit that like and hit that subscribe button.